Hi there, and welcome back here for the process video of my travel wallet mini album. Uh, Now I'm just cutting the paper using the line that I drawn before, and here you see me cut four different papers, but in the end I have used 8 papers because actually the paper is pretty thick, so for me it wasn't easy to slip in and slip out the single pages. So I end up adding more paper in order to keep like the single pages in place and without having to move them and without taking off some picture. What I did here was just to fold using the bone folder and the guideline that it's on the Fiskars cutting machine, the folding lines, so I can just use it to, if you don't have a scoreboard, it's a perfect system to fold the page. And here I'm just keeping folding all the pages. The extra 4 pages that I added, you won't see me cutting and folding here because I wasn't sure if it will become too bulky, so I tried off camera, and since I realized it was actually working perfectly, I just adding them. So this is something that I have not recorded, but just for you to know, I added 4 more uh, like small pages inside. So now I'm just placing them where they belong and checking the size and the dimension, because even if I took the measure before, there is some millimeters that all the time you need to cut and to adjust. I will put the sites that I've used in the info box below just for your references, because I'm not sure if all the traveler wallet are the same sites or not, but just in case you want to see and check for yourself, I'll put them. So here I'm just putting back all the pages, the insert pages. It's basically the size of a traveler notebook, so it's pretty easy. And here I'm just adding the backside for the map to embellish even the backside. And now I'm moving to the bits and pieces booklet. That is something that probably never existed before, but it's just some kind of booklet where I made by all the tickets and the um, business cards and whatever. And here I'm just placing the picture to the where they belong to each page. So here you can see that there are even the 4 extra uh, pages that I added, and now I'm just dividing by the 4 themes, so city, details, food, and us. And now I'm going to trim down the picture and place them on the page. The only thing is I'm doing this only on the pre-printed pages, the one with the pattern, because I will be decorating the white background of the left pages in a while, then you'll see how. And here I'm just creating some kind of cover for the accordion booklet. And the back side, here I'm deciding how to place the picture, and I decide to place one fully up and one fully on the bottom of the page. And since I have an extra white page here, I decide to use on both of the 2 accordion a 4x6 photo cut it in half, so I don't have to worry here about the the white backside of the paper pad. So it's an easy way for me to solve this small problem. And here I'm just placing the other photos on the other booklet. So just cutting even this one in half and placing on the back side. So it's basically a perfect 4x6 or 3x4 card, so very easy. Here I decide to create a pocket with a scrap paper from one page and made basically made a pocket where to put that picture. And here I made some kind of mistake. I mean, because I decided to add this pocket after I glue the first um, paper to the back side of the map. That means that I decide to sew it. So I have to remove it and then sew and put it back. I mean, the map, it's not damaged at all, but if you want to do something like I did, it's really better if you do before start gluing anything. And here, what I'm going to do is just decorating the left page that will be white otherwise. So I'm using this Kelly Perky stamp set that it's New Adventure, and I'm just stamping the same three sentences, one for each page. I mean, and it's like we went here, we were here, we saw this, and we love this. So I decided to use these three, and I alternate them, and I'm just using some ink pad that match the following pages. So I save you to see me stamping the entire page, because it's really long and boring process, but I really love the result. And I mean, I guess it's a very nice way to cover a white space and to find something that give more interest to your page. Because, for example, the paper that I'm using, it's very patterned. So I mean, it's nice that the opposite page it's with words. So you can do this kind of use this kind of design strategy to give some kind of more interesting to your page, and even using the same three stamps and the same repetition gives to the entire project a more cohesive look. So I mean, it's nothing that I invented. I mean, it's full on the internet of video that show you how to create something that it's um, cohesive and well working together kind of pages. But I mean, this trick it's a really good one, because if you decide some elements, even a few of them, you don't need to be so much. You just need 3 or 4 things that are basically repeat themselves. It will be easier your process, and will give your project a lot of cohesive look. I know I'm a little bit repeating myself probably, but it's something that I really cared about. And I decided that the last page of the city theme, that is the first I worked on, it will be like a travelogue. So I'm designing basically 2 boxes, and I'm going to journal inside them. And I'm taking some extra element from the New Adventure stamp set, that is this getaway, and I'm just stamping it all over diagonally. And now you see me finishing it and removing all the sticky notes that I use as masks. And now, as you can see, the light is totally changing here in Edinburgh, so there is a lot of sunny. And sorry for this crazy change of lights, but it's really not my something that I can control. I mean, I can just use some lights when the natural light went off, but now that it's here, it's really better, as you can see. And I've just used the travelogue and the detail stamp from the same stamp set to create the entire page. And I've used a pigment ink, a gray one, that is pretty intense. So if you want, I like the fact that when you finish your journaling, it will be a little bit subtle. So if you show this to a friend of yours and you don't want them to read everything, they have to pause for read everything, so probably they won't. But if you want that the text really pops up from the background, you just need to use something that it's a little bit lighter. And here I'm just starting to work on the detail section. So I'm just doing the same that I did before. So finding a matching color with the following pages, and just stamping the white page with one of the Kelly Perky sentiment. And as you can see, it's pretty long as process. I mean, it's not fast, but I really like this effect. So if you want, you can just use watercolor and color it, because I mean, it's pretty thick paper generally, or you can even easily use a paper that has both sides printed. But this is a very nice way to use even the paper that otherwise it will be trickier to use in project like this one. And this part of the album, this section, the detail section, it's basically all focused on details. So you will see pictures of my feet, or pictures of our dessert, or my screensaver where we were playing Trivial Pursuit. So something very mundane, probably, but something that I really love to kept. So. And here I'm going to embellish the inside pocket. And since the material of the traveler wallet is pretty, I don't know how to say, it's a little bit plastic. It's not real plastic because it's paper, but it's, I don't know, it's something polished. So I'm using the Sezon ink because otherwise it won't dry. And I've made mistakes in a while, and you will see it, and then I will explain why I'm sure that it's not going to dry. And here I'm going to use, I'm doing basically all the big stamps with titles and whatever. So for this I'm trying, even here I'm thinking about cohesive look. So I'm using just one stamp set. This is the Seymour Alpha stamp set from Kelly Stamps, that it's a great stamp set because it's bold and it's not just the outline, so it's really lovely to use. And the fact is that I prefer to use all the time, when I work on a project, the less number of different things, or at least using things that are cohesive as a look, because it's, I mean, in the end everything looks cleaner and nicer. So I'm just using this alpha for all the titles and all the big bold stuff, except for writing food, and you will see in a while, because it's, I mean, the space is not enough and the alphabet is too big, but here it's perfect. So I'm going to take out the first page, write city, with the same idea. And since I want to add something, I'm doing the same thing that I'm doing with my traveler notebook process. If you follow me on Instagram, you will see that I'm working on a travel notebook that will become a new series that that will be start to share with you on this channel, because I started in a while now, and I guess I'm able to show you my process, because I develop a process basically. And I'm using there one big alpha from Kelly Perky, that is the green point alpha. And I'm using some words from the ID swap stamp set. So these are the same stamp set that I'm using here. And what I really like is to have these bold and clean alphas, like the green point or the Seymour, with the words or stamps that looks like handwritten. So, I mean, it's a really nice contrast, and I really love it. So I'm trying to use, even here, the same principle, because it's something that works for my aesthetic sense. I mean, nothing special. But here, the stamp set that I'm using is from Laura by Laura, and it's a London themed one. So I'm using the Keep Calm, and I'm mixing with other stamp set that I've used quite a lot here, that it's from the one where is today's adventure, that it's from In a Creative Bubble. It was in one of the Studio Calico stamp set from, I guess, February, March, not February probably, a couple of months ago, and it's really nice because it's very good for travel and exploring even your own city. You don't need to go, I mean, on a trip, but it's really nice. And here I'm just using one of my, of my labels, the one that I create as a digital stamp set and then I print all the time and I'm placing one of each under each photos just to take some notes of the place or whatever. And even like this I can have a consistent look. So for me it works really nice. And here I'm using the same ideas that are used on the city section for this detail section. So I'm spelling details, and I have stamps always and remember with the ID swap stamps, and just keep stamping because I mean, and all the time I have some kind of issues with my stamps. I always end up with correct them with my marker because I'm not a very good stamper. Here you are going to see me do the real embellish part. So I start with the maps. So here you can see that I sew the front pocket, and now I'm just using some die cut that I have that I already took out from my stash, because I mean it's impossible for me to go through my stash every time I work on this kind of project. So when I do some kind of mini album or some themed project, I always create like a mini kit for me to work with. And here we come with the mistakes. I'm spelling Verona, that is the name of the city, with the Simul Alpha, and then you are going to see me use the studs on ink, but since the printing wasn't perfect, instead of just doing what I do all the time and using a marker to cover the mistakes, I used the VersaFine ink that it's perfect. As you can see, it's really black and it's perfect, but it doesn't dry properly. I mean, yes, in the end it had dried, but it takes hours and hours, and really, I mean, don't do this. Use the StazOn and be slow in printing, in stamping, and take your time, but it's really better to use a very quick dry ink on surfaces that are not properly matte, like this one. Here I used, I don't have a tab puncher, so I just took one tab that I had and use it as to trace some tabs from some scrap paper that I've used in the rest of the project. And here I printed with using my computer. I just wrote with Word details, city, you and me, because as was too short, and food. And I just print them and just cutting and glue it on the tabs. So I don't work following some kind of very specific order. I mean, while I wait that something dry, I go to do something different. And if I saw something, I just maybe I remind that some idea come to my mind, so I decide to do something different in another part of the project. So bear with me. I mean, it's how my creativity works. So I'm sorry if I'm not the clearest person and that do all the passage in some kind of logical process, but it's how my mind thinks. So, and as you have already seen, I will be using some tiny words to fill up some spaces, especially in the titles, because I mean I'm in love with tiny words. And here I'm going back to put some other labels. So just doing the same stuff basically through the entire process. I guess it's something that it's easier for me to go through. And here I'm just keeping finishing some details and adding some more labels. Right now as you can see, the labels are empty, and I'm going to do the journaling part of the camera, because I mean there is no point in you seeing me writing, but you will see the finished album in the flip through. That will be the next video I'm going to share with you, so you will see everything in there. And here I'm just finishing the two titles that I haven't done yet. There are for the accordion sections. So the food and us. Food it's too long and too, I mean, too big to use the Seymour sunset. So I'm using this sunset that it's really nice, and it's the Goethe sunset from Paper Project. Instead, as what was pretty small, so I could fit easily uh, with the Seymour sunset. And here I'm just placing the tabs that I made before, and I've uh, paid attention to mix the pattern, so it won't be the same as the page, but it's, I mean, something that I want it to be like this. And here I'm just finishing to decorate even the accordion part, so I'm just placing the last couple of pictures in place. Here I was thinking if I would like to have some kind of background, but then I decided that I don't. And for this type of project, I strongly recommend you to use flat embellishment, because I have used just a couple of rubber stamp and a couple of wood veneers, but the most of the embellishment, it's really better if they are flat, because otherwise, I mean, even like this, the project, the album, the finished album will be chunky. Otherwise, it's possible that it breaks. So better, very flat embellishment. And here, in the bits and pieces parts, I realized that I am missing them one of my favorite place business card. So I just used plain craft uh, scrap to write the name uh, of the restaurant. And here I'm decorating the backside of the map, because I mean it was a full page without anything wrote on. So I just stamped Romeo Romeo, wherefore the Romeo, and because I mean we are in Verona, so no better quote than this one. And then here I have used my typewriter to print out, to write our itinerary. So I just put in inside the map, and I even covered the previous written that was, I mean, anything that would be interesting for me to kept. And here I'm just finishing to write L'Osteria, that is the part of the name of the place. And just using the Goethe sunset, because I mean the Seymour was definitely too big for this space. And I know that I don't work, I mean, all the time in a logical order, but sometimes while I wait that something is dry and everything, I just go to the next part. So here I'm just want to add something, and I'm thinking to use the Goethe alphabet for writing in, for printing in, stamping. There is a word in English and it's stamping. Sometimes my mind kept making mistakes. I'm sorry. And here, just pure embellishment. So tiny words everywhere, because I mean, without tiny words, and for me, something is missing. I don't know if it's the white background. I don't know, because I have even the craft and the black one, and I don't use them so often as the white one, or if just something with me in my mind. But and here I'm just placing some bits and pieces that I have take out from my die cut stash. They are basically all sentiment and this kind of stuff. And I'm just stamping some extra decoration on the picture. So some sentiment, some yum or delish or this kind of stuff. And this uh, stamp set, it's from my Prima Marketing, and it's called Food and Travel, I guess. And it's one that I bought recently from Amazon, and I'm using it a lot. And here I'm just going through my sticker stash that I pulled out for this project, and just placing them wherever I feel like they fit. So here I'm not going necessarily in a logical order. I mean, sometimes I just, while I ramble through my stash or through my bowl of embellishment, I saw something that I think, oh, but there is a picture before, so I just went back and put it there. Sometimes I just keep going through until I found something for a specific picture. So, I mean, everyone works in minds working in different ways. So for someone it's easier to go through one picture at the time and decorate that one first and then move on, and for me it's easier to just move and see whatever it comes. And here there are the rubber stamp, there are rubber stickers that I've used that are not sticker anymore, so I'm just placing back with some glue. And here I'm just going, and basically what I did was try to have at least one sticker or one decoration for each um, for each photo. So something, I mean, something very flat, something very subtle, because I wanted that the picture had the main part, and since even the background, the one that I stamped with the New Adventures stamp set, it's pretty bold. You can see them very uh, clearly. I didn't want to exceed with embellishing, so, and here just finishing the inside cover, or what actually it's a cover, because yeah, I didn't decorate at all the outside of the album, because I thought I'm doing enough decoration on the inside, and the I'm just going through it and see if there is something that I'm missing, something that it's without any decoration, something that needs uh, an extra embellishment or things like this. And what I think it's really nice in this album is that it's really, even if it's become a little bit chunky in the end, but it's not so big. I mean, it's something that it's small. It's basically like a travel notebook, so you can even prepare the basic structure in advance and bring with you for a travel and decorate it on the go if you want to do like this with Instax or some kind of selfie printer or whatever. Um, but even if you want to do it like I did when you are at home and everything, it's pretty easy to storage, and I was able to fit inside this one 40 pictures. So I mean, a lot of picture for this very narrow album. So basically I'm done, and I hope to see you here for the flip through, and let me know what you think. Bye.